Good morning, I'm Paolo del Rosario and welcome to WeatherHQ. Today's headlines. Pag-asa says a low-pressure area embedded in the Intertropical Convergence Zone has a moderate chance of developing into a tropical cyclone. The enactment of the Ligtas Pinoy Centers Act is expected to provide safer space for Filipinos often displaced by calamities. I'll speak with the Office of Civil Defense about the mandatory establishment of permanent evacuation centers later on in the show. And Balkan country Bosnia records its hottest temperature this year after experiencing significant drought. More on our global weather. Let's take a look at the local weather with 4 weather systems affecting the country today. First is a low-pressure area that is embedded along the Intertropical Convergence Zone, or the ITCZ, affecting Mindanao. Now, the LPA was last located 155 kilometers east-southeast of Tagum City, Davao del Norte. Now, Pag-asa says that this LPA has a moderate chance of developing into a tropical cyclone in the upcoming days. But now, it will bring cloudy skies with scattered rains and thunderstorms over the eastern Visayas, Caraga, and Davao region. Now, for the rest of Visayas and Mindanao, cloudy skies with scattered rains and thunderstorms are expected to prevail because of the ITCZ. Now, let's take a look at the shear line. The shear line will also bring cloudy skies with scattered rains and thunderstorms over the Bicol region and Quezon. Lastly, due to the northeast monsoon, cloudy skies with rain showers are expected to prevail in the Cagayan Valley, Cordillera Administrative Region, and in Aurora. Now, it will also bring partly cloudy skies with isolated light rains over in Metro Manila and the rest of Luzon. So do watch out for all of that. Let's check the sea conditions to see if there is any adverse effects from the weather systems. At the moment, there is no gale warning in effect, permitting mariners the freedom to venture out onto the waters. However, it is crucial to remain vigilant as weather patterns can shift unexpectedly. Don't forget, always exercise caution and be prepared for any changes that may arise during your time at sea. Now let's take a look at the weather conditions and expected temperatures in selected cities and provinces in Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. This is going to be based on the Metra weather system. Let's move on over to northern Luzon, where we can expect partly cloudy skies with temperatures of up to 24 degrees Celsius in Basco and Tuguegarao. Tuguegarao actually having 27 degrees Celsius and Basco having 25 degrees Celsius in those particular areas. Moving on to Baguio and Apari, you can expect cloudy skies and rain showers that will continue all throughout the day, as the temperature will be lowest in Baguio around 16 degrees Celsius, as is typical in the region, while in Apari there's going to be 27 degrees Celsius, the high there. Now, despite the presence of the northeast monsoon, which we alluded to a while ago, temperatures in Lawag, Vigan, and Dagupan will rise up to around 32 degrees Celsius, 31 degrees Celsius because of the sunny weather. Now, let's move on south to the central Luzon area, where you can expect cloudy skies in Iba, Subic, Mariveles, Angeles, Tarlac, and Gapan. Temperatures in these areas will range from 23 to 33 degrees Celsius. The northeast monsoon will bring cloudy weather with a high chance of rain showers over in Aurora, as you can see how everything is affected here. Now, temperatures in Aurora could reach around 28 degrees Celsius. In Metro Manila, cloudy skies are expected to prevail with temperatures that may reach up to 30 degrees Celsius despite the cloudy weather, so still a bit hot even so. Now, moving on to southern Luzon, you can expect cloudy skies with rain showers along Coron, Puerto Galera, Romblon, Sorsogon, Virac, Daet, and Legazpi. Now, the highest temperature in these areas is going to be around 31 degrees Celsius, which is in Coron, right over here. And of course, also 24 degrees Celsius will be the lowest in Virac, Sorsogon, and Romblon. Now, let me just move on to the side, just to give Sorsogon a bit of love here. 24 degrees Celsius, one of the lowest temperatures, as well as Virac and Romblon. Now, also Tagaytay will have partly cloudy skies, which are expected to bring temperatures from around 20 to 24 degrees Celsius. So a bit cool if you want to go to Tagaytay and escape the heat from Metro Manila. Now, cloudy weather is also expected within Calamba, with temperatures up to 27 degrees Celsius. Moving on to Visayas, the whole region will experience cloudy skies with rain showers because of the ITCZ and the LPA affecting the region. Now, the rainy weather is expected to prevail over in Iloilo, Bacolod, Boracay, Metro Cebu, Tacloban, Catarman, Tagbilaran, and Dumaguete. Highest temperature in these areas could reach around 30 degrees Celsius, which is in Tagbilaran. And the lowest temperature will be in Iloilo, Tacloban, Catarman, as well as Tagbilaran. Tagbilaran having the highest and some of the lowest temperatures you can have. So watch out if you're in Tagbilaran in particular. Moving on to Mindanao. Same weather conditions are expected, still because of the ITCZ and the LPA. So the cloudy skies with rain showers and thunderstorms are expected to prevail in Zamboanga, Tipolog, Marawi, General Santos, Cagayan de Oro, Butuan, and in Metro Davao. Temperature in Zamboanga and Tipolog will reach up to 33 degrees Celsius, as is typical as one of the hotter spots in Mindanao. However, in Metro Davao, you're going to see 29 degrees Celsius being the high and 25 degrees Celsius being the low. Now, let's take a look at the 3-day weather forecast to see if the rains will continue in the upcoming days based on the Metra weather system. Marhay na aga, Legazpi. Anticipate rainy weather persisting through Friday, though. Tomorrow's temperature will range from a mild 25 degrees to a warm 29 degrees Celsius. On Thursday, we can expect the heat to rise potentially to a high of 30 degrees Celsius. Finally, as we move on to Friday, temperatures will settle again around 25 to 29 degrees Celsius. Now, moving on to Tacloban. In Tacloban, the weather forecast for the next 3 days indicate predominantly cloudy skies accompanied by scattered rain showers and a possibility of thunderstorms. Temperatures will range from a cool low of 24 degrees Celsius tomorrow on Wednesday, and of course a high of around 28 degrees Celsius, creating a dynamic climate that could bring refreshing rainfall. Remember, the ITCZ and the LPA is around this area, so do watch out for that. Now, moving down even further down south, let's take a look at Cagayan de Oro. The combined effects of the low pressure area and the Intertropical Convergence Zone over Mindanao are likely to bring cloudy skies with scattered rain showers and thunderstorms to areas like Cagayan de Oro over the next few days. Now, residents in CDO and the nearby areas should be prepared for possible heavy rain, occasional flooding, and disruptions due to these weather conditions. So similar weather conditions all throughout until Friday, with the low being at 24 degrees Celsius on Thursday and Friday, and the highs being at 30 on Friday. Now, to know more about the scenarios of the low pressure area in Mindanao, we have with us on the phone Pag-asa weather specialist Dan Villamil. Magandang umaga, Dan. Thank you very much for joining us.
Good morning po at sa ating mga taga-subaybay dito sa Bilyonaryo News Channel.
Dan, can we talk a bit about yung LPA na to and the possibility and the chances of it developing into a tropical cyclone?
Actually po, sir, for the next 24 hours, mataas yung chance na nitong nasabing LPA na ating minomonitor to develop into a tropical depression o isang ganap na bagyo.
What can we expect kapag naging tropical depression po ito?
Actually, ngayon pa lamang, kahit low pressure area pa lamang siya, nagdudulot na ito ng mga pag-ulan sa eastern section ng Visayas and sa Mindanao. So as of now, embedded ito or nakapaloob sa ating Intertropical Convergence Zone o ITCZ. So most of Visayas and Mindanao, due to the combined effects of LPA and ITCZ, asahan natin for the next 24 hours at sa mga sunod pang mga araw, itong mga pag-ulan na dala ng sama ng panahon na ito. So pag mag-develop pa ito into a tropical depression or mahinang bagyo, asahan rin natin, in addition sa mga ulan na ito, may mga pagbukso ng hangin na posibleng maranasan especially dito sa eastern Visayas and eastern Mindanao area.
In terms of rainfall, ano mga area na maepektado ng LPA?
So ito pong area ng eastern Visayas at Caraga and Davao region, ito po yung mga areas na pinaka-exposed or pinaka-malapit dito sa sentro ng ating low pressure area. So sila po yung mararanasan nila itong mga pinakamalalakas sa pag-ulan na dala ng incoming na sama ng panahon na ito.
Well, karamihan sa mga tropical cyclones na naranasan natin in the past few months nasa northern Luzon, what can we expect from tropical cyclones in the south?
Well, for the month of December, usually ganito naman yung usual track ng mga bagyo. No? So nagkakaroon na ng southward shift. So kumbaga mas pababa na yung track na dinadaanan ng mga bagyo towards the end of the year. So usually, naapektuhan nito itong eastern Visayas or possibly itong northeastern Mindanao area.
Will this LPA and a potential tropical depression affect yung mga Christmas preparations sa lahat ng mga kababayan natin sa Mindanao?
Yes po, so as early as now, so kailangan pong bigyan din, maging bagyo man ito or hindi. Maghanda na tayo sa mga banta ng pagbaha o pagguho ng lupa dahil ngayon pa lamang nagdudulutan ng pag-ulan itong low pressure area na ito, mas posible dumami pa yung mga pag-ulan na ito once na mag-develop ito bilang isang bagyo or tropical depression.
Thank you so much. That's Dan Villamil from Pag-asa giving us updates regarding the LPA in Mindanao. Maraming salamat, Dan.
Sige po, good morning.
Now, when we return, we'll have the Office of the Civil Defense to talk about the mandatory establishment of the permanent evacuation center. Stay tuned. You're watching WeatherHQ.
Magandang araw, Pilipinas!
Sa bawat issue may iba't ibang anggulo.
Sa bawat storya, may iba't ibang kwento.
Himayin natin ang bawat sulok at bawat kanto mula sa iba't ibang perspektibo na madaling maintindihan ng karaniwang mamamayan.
Every Saturday na po kami to 11:30 a.m. Kaya huwag kayong papahuli, mga kabayan. Manatiling may pakialam sa mga issue sa ating bansa kung kaya samahan niyo kami. Dito lang sa Cuatro Cantos!
Welcome back. You're still watching WeatherHQ. I'm Paolo del Rosario. President Marcos recently signed the Ligtas Pinoy Centers Act to help provide dedicated spaces for Filipinos frequently affected by typhoons, earthquakes, and volcanic eruptions. Joining us via Zoom is Office of Civil Defense Plans Division Acting Chief Eman Balahadya. Magandang umaga, Eman. Thank you very much for joining us.
Magandang umaga at sa lahat ng taga-subaybay ng Bilyonaryo News Channel. Good morning.
All right, so the Ligtas Pinoy Centers Act recently signed by President Bongbong Marcos. When can we actually expect these permanent evacuation centers to actually be implemented?
Yeah. So the implementation would be in phases. So we want it to be strategic and gradual. So far we're developing the IRR of the law. So after that, we'll determine the priority areas, the high-risk municipalities and cities. And of course, this will be a phased implementation based on a multi-year plan. We'll determine the funding and resources to be allocated annually for this.
Upon reading the act, notice may mga standards po kayo with regard to gaano kalaki yung population, of course, the size and the space available. There's also structural safety concerns that has to be addressed as well. Who would be responsible for ensuring na structurally sound ang mga evacuation centers po nito, especially considering yung scale ng act po nito?
Of course, it would be the Department of Public Works and Highways that shall ensure the structural safety of these evacuation centers. However, the NDRRMC will closely monitor and, of course, we develop a menu of minimum conceptual design standards for these evacuation centers.
Normally, can you give us an idea of how many evacuees should these centers hold, these evacuation centers hold, and the typical number that we normally see being housed prior to this bill being enacted?
So a typical evacuation center has an average of 100 to 500 evacuees, depending on the size of the structure and available facilities. But big evacuation centers from highly populated areas or disaster-prone areas can house up to 1,000 people. So we want to have comfort and safety, and the minimum requirement is around 3 to 5 square meters per person to prevent overcrowding.
And a lot of the issues that I foresee here will actually be on funding in terms of who would be handling the funds, the budgets, and of course the role of the local government units. Can you give us a bit more detail about the financing of these centers?
Yeah. The local government units will play a significant role in this law. Of course, they will first fund the construction of this law. However, the national government will assist those who have who have difficulties or limitations in their funding, the national government has an oversight on this and will provide technical guidance and monitor the compliance of these LGUs.
Are there any penalties for those LGUs who will not be able to abide by this law for one reason or the other?
Yeah, of course. One main feature of the law is accountability to uh, ensure compliance of our LGUs in the construction of these evacuation centers. So they're mandated to comply with this law, and they have to allocate necessary funds and ensure that the centers are functional and disaster resilient. So there, if they have not complied with this law, of course, administrative sanctions under the local government code and relevant civil service laws shall be applied.
Eman, what are the other highlights of this law? Obviously, there are yung mga minimum standards and requirements with regard to this being a safe space for all genders as well. And there are also requirements with regard to the being disaster resilient to earthquakes, landslides, and even flooding. What, in your opinion, are the bigger highlights? Siguro na hindi natin nabibigyan pansin masyado.
Yeah. So, napakaganda po nitong batas na ito, no? Kasi intentional na nilagay talaga na the evacuation centers should be accessible and inclusive. So we included here the accessibility to persons with disabilities, pregnant women, senior citizens. We have to ensure the safety and protection of vulnerable groups. And also, we have to look into the gender sensitivity provisions of this law. Napakaganda talaga nung law na ito at sana ma-implement ng mabuti. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much as OCD Plans Division Acting Chief, Eman Balahadya, for your insights. Maraming salamat po. Stay safe. Well, global weather is up next. Keep it here. You're still watching BNC, the Bilyonaryo News Channel.
Good morning, I'm Mikey Oreta and you're watching Basis Points, where we dive deep into the numbers and the stories that drive our economy and shape our world.
Stay ahead of the curve with the latest on financial dynamics.
The Philippines trade deficit hits its highest level in over 2 years. The Philippine stock market continues to plummet. The Philippine Economic Zone Authority is on track.
Join us as we delve into the evolving economic landscape. Mikey Oreta, Basis Points, 9:30 a.m. Only on BNC, the Bilyonaryo News Channel.
Good morning, everyone!
A platter of positivity, a cup of the hottest information, and a slice of what to expect for the whole day. With excitement, positivity, and fun, join Paolo del Rosario, Ann Asis Carrillo, and Monique Tuzon.
It's a beautiful day!
7 a.m. on BNC, the Bilyonaryo News Channel.
The latest news, national issues, the political scene, and conversations with prominent personalities. All these firsthand at the forefront.
Is still continuing with hearings on the EJ.
But we can recommend the filing of cases with the proper offices or agencies.
It is always victimizing the poor, so we will continue to go against corruption in the budget.
At the forefront with attorney Karen Jimeno, 8 a.m.
Good evening, I'm Pinky Webb. Tonight we ask the questions, what does the investigation cover? We tackle the issues.
The President's immunity from suit is absolute.
We clarify matters and we get on point.
Watch his press con. Sinabi niya na ayaw niya ng kudeta.
What is questionable about the AR, sir? The Vice President keeps insisting walang active threat kung hindi ako mamamatay.
Ayun na lang natin, mahirap pang pangunahan eh.
Pinky Webb, on point.
Welcome back to WeatherHQ. Let's take a look at the global weather. France government went into crisis mode as rescuers searched for survivors of Cyclone Chido, which devastated Mayotte. The cyclone devastated the archipelago with winds exceeding 200 kilometers per hour, destroying homes and cutting off essential services like power and water. This storm marks the most severe weather event to hit the Indian Ocean islands in 90 years. Acting Interior Minister Bruno Retailleau noted that damage assessments would take days due to many areas being inaccessible. French President Emmanuel Macron planned an emergency meeting while the health minister reported that the main hospital was operational despite flood damage. Mayotte, which has a median disposable income significantly lower than Paris, has also faced unrest over immigration and inflation. Authorities fear that hundreds, potentially thousands, may have died in the disaster. Relief operations were underway, but the main airport remained closed for civilian flights. Comoros on Monday declared a week of national mourning after Cyclone Chido devastated Mayotte. President Azali Assoumani said that the mourning period would last until Sunday on the Indian Ocean islands, where several people lost their lives and infrastructure suffered enormous damage. After experiencing a significant drought that impacted one of Bosnia's largest lakes, the Balkan country is positioned to embrace its warmest year on record in 2024, as announced by its Meteorological Institute on Monday. Meteorologist Zenan Zulum shared with AFP that this year has the potential to be the hottest since data collection began, highlighting that the country has set new annual heat records for 3 consecutive years. Zulum says the average temperature in the southern city of Mostar would be about 17.5 to 17.6 degrees Celsius, some 7 to 0.8 degrees above the 2023, while in Sarajevo, the average would be 12.9 to 13 degrees Celsius, or about 1 degree above the figures last year. Bosnia has experienced below average snowfall this year, with rainfall also lighter than usual, contributing to a drought that has affected one of its largest lakes. This drought has allowed for greater awareness of landslide risks in the surrounding areas, as dry, loosened soil increase their vulnerability. The UN Weather and Climate Agency has indicated that 2024 is likely to be the warmest year recorded globally, with UN officials and experts connecting a series of floods, wildfires, heat waves, and hurricanes around the world this year due to the impact of global warming. And that's WeatherHQ for today. Join me again tomorrow, whatever the weather, only here on BNC, the Bilyonaryo News Channel. I'm Paolo del Rosario. Have a great morning.